back to the channel. Today we're going to unravel some incredibly complex events in Genoa. Rumors are circulating around the Newman family, but what's the truth? In this video, I'll summarize the plot points that will be revealed in the next episode. Stay tuned to see what happens. Welcome back to our channel, fellow Genoa City gossips. Today is a beautiful day to dissect the absolute chaos that just unfolded on our screens. Grab your favorite snack, settle in, and let's get right into the thick of it because we have some serious drama to discuss. Oh my actual God. I am literally shaking right now as I type this. I cannot even begin to process the final 5 minutes of that episode. I can't believe they actually did that. Patty Williams stabbing Jack Abbott? Are you kidding me right now? I am typing this up at 2 a.m. because my adrenaline is completely through the roof and I desperately need to vent to people who actually understand this show and have been invested in these characters for years. I mean, we all knew Patty was unhinged, but leaving Jack bleeding out on the hardwood floor of the Abbott mansion while she rambles about spending eternity together in the afterlife, that is next level psychopath behavior. I've been watching this show since 2015. And this has to be one of the most terrifying, jaw-dropping cliffhangers they've pulled in a very long time. I am half celebrating because the drama was absolutely top tier, but I am also half complaining because why can't Jack Abbott ever just catch a break? But wait, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's rewind and break down exactly how we even got to this bloody nightmare, because the entire episode was an absolute masterclass in tension. Let's talk about the Abbott mansion scenes first. So Patty is whining and complaining about Jack making her wait in the hot tub. The sheer audacity of this woman, she's parading around the house, acting like she's the lady of the manor, completely delusional about her status and what is actually going on. And then she literally strips off her clothes right in front of him. I was screaming at my television screen. Jack's reaction was absolutely priceless, though. He was just so utterly repulsed and exhausted by her antics. He straight up told her to cover up, hide the truth of her delusions, and stop living in a fantasy world. I loved every single second of him shutting her down. Because let's be real, remember when they tried this whole Patty and Jack romance angle back in the day? Yeah, didn't work then either. And it's even more nauseating now considering she teamed up with Victor Newman to drug him on a yacht, and Jack did not hold back for a second. He flat out told her that Diane Jenkins Abbott is the only woman he wants and the only woman he will ever want. Obviously, Patty's fragile, twisted little ego couldn't handle that rejection, so she doubled down, insisting that they were going to sleep together tonight. But Jack? Oh, Jack played the ultimate Uno reverse card. He followed her up to the bedroom, and for a split second, I was terrified he was going to cave to her blackmail just to keep Diane safe. But no! He dropped the absolute mic on her. He looked her dead in the eye and revealed that her entire twisted plan had failed miserably. He explained exactly how he had tricked Dr. Lawrence Markham using Patty's own phone, and he proudly announced that Kyle was already on his way to bring Diane home. The satisfaction I felt in that moment. Jack finally outsmarted her. But of course, Patty being Patty, she refused to accept reality and just hissed that Jack had signed Diane's death warrant. Chills, guys. Literal chills down my spine. Okay, back to the point. While Jack is delivering epic verbal smackdowns at the mansion, we get to see the actual rescue mission unfolding at Dr. Markham's creepy fortress. Can we talk about Kyle for a second? I know some people in the forums are loving this hero arc for him, but personally, I've always found Kyle a bit whiny and impulsive. However, I have to give credit where credit is absolute due. The kid actually pulled it off. Diane hears a noise. She's terrified thinking it's her captor. And then, boom, it's Kyle. That desperate hug between them, honestly, it brought a genuine tear to my eye. Kyle explains how Jack tried to do the rescue himself, but got thwarted by those massive, terrifying Dobermans outside. And Kyle's solution? feeding the dogs all the beef he could possibly carry. I mean, it's so simple but brilliant, though he did warn his mother that if they try to leave the exact same way, they might just be the dog's next meal. The stakes were so incredibly high in this scene. But Diane Jenkins Abbott is the real MVP of this episode. I am sorry, but Diane's masterclass in psychological manipulation deserves an Emmy Award right now. She has been playing the long game with Dr. Markham, putting up with his weird, creepy, highly unprofessional psychological torture. When she complained to Kyle about the mind games Markham has been putting her through, you could feel her deep exhaustion. But she didn't break. She told Kyle to hide immediately because the good doctor was coming back, and she went right back into character like a seasoned pro. She served Markham those appetizers that she had secretly spiked with the sedatives she managed to steal. The sheer tension while she waited for him to take a bite was unbearable. I was literally gripping the edge of my sofa, and Markham is just so cluelessly arrogant. He actually secretly called Patty and left a whining voicemail complaining about being ignored after receiving that emergency text. Like, dude, you are running an illegal hostage situation. Maybe focus on that instead of your bruised ego. And then he has the absolute nerve to start flirting with Diane again, hinting that he's developed strong feelings for her after keeping her locked up. Ew, just ew. He actually leaned in to try and kiss her, and Diane physically stopping him was so deeply satisfying. But the best part? The absolute best part was when his eyes started getting heavy, and Diane leaned in and coldly revealed that she had sedated him the second he started struggling to stay awake. She didn't even wait for him to pass out completely before she dropped the bomb on him. Kyle, popping out from his hiding spot to help her finish the job, was the cherry on top of a perfect sundae. Markham, slumping over in that chair, completely unconscious, was everything I needed to see today. So Kyle starts frantically trying all of Markham's keys to find the one that opens the fortress doors so they can finally escape. And then the phone rings. Markham's phone. Diane looks at the caller ID, sees it's Patty, and she picks it up. Diane answering that phone was such a boss move. You just know Patty's blood ran ice cold when she heard Diane's voice on the other end of the line instead of her loyal doctor. Patty realizes in real time that her flawless, psychotic plan has completely unraveled and she has lost all her leverage. Jack is right there, overhearing the realization dawn on Patty, and he finally kicks her out of the house. Good riddance, or so we naively thought. The phone conversation between Jack and Diane right after Patty gets booted was so incredibly emotional. Jack and Diane finally getting to hear each other's voices, acknowledging the massive trauma they've just been put through. Jack telling her Patty has left, and both of them admitting they have a lot to talk about. I know there are a lot of Jack and Diane haters out there who think he should be with Phyllis or Nikki, but you cannot deny the chemistry and the deep, messy history these two share. They were both looking forward to seeing each other, and for a brief, fleeting moment, I actually thought we were going to get a happy ending to this storyline tonight. I should have known better. This is Y&R, after all. Happiness is always just a setup for absolute tragedy. Cut to Kyle and Diane in the car, speeding away from that nightmare house. Kyle has Jack on speakerphone, reassuring his dad that Diane is safe, sound, and finally free. Jack gives him the all clear, announcing that Patty has left the premises and the coast is clear. Kyle, being the protective son, asks Diane if she wants to go to the athletic club to decompress and hide out, or if she wants to go straight home. He tells her she doesn't have to decide right away, but Diane, being fiercely stubborn and wanting her life back, says she wants to go back to the Abbott mansion. She wants her home. She wants her husband. It felt like such a triumphant moment of reclaiming her power and her life. But the dramatic irony was absolutely suffocating because we, the viewers, knew something they didn't. Because Patty Williams was not gone. I am still screaming about this plot twist. How does the Abbott mansion have such terrible security? They are billionaires. Buy an alarm system, hire an armed guard, get a Ring doorbell, for crying out loud. But no, Patty somehow sneaks right back into the house, and she is completely, utterly unhinged. The look in her eyes was pure, unfiltered madness. She didn't just come back to yell or throw a tantrum because she lost. She came back with a massive knife. The pacing of this scene was incredible. Jack is standing there, probably breathing a massive sigh of relief, thinking his wife is on her way home to his arms, and then Patty just emerges from the shadows like a slasher movie villain, and she stabs him. She actually plunges the knife right into Jack Abbott. The gas that left my mouth woke up my dog. Jack collapses to the floor, bleeding out, clutching his wound in agony, and Patty just stands over him. She isn't panicking. She isn't running away in fear of what she's done. She starts delivering this psychotic, chilling monologue about how they are going to be together forever in the afterlife. She honestly believes that if she can't have him in this life, she will kill him so they can be together in death. It is so dark, so twisted, and so perfectly Patty. I mean, this is the woman who once kissed Summer Newman with peanut butter lips, knowing it could literally kill her. We should never have underestimated how far she would go when she felt cornered, rejected, and out of options. I have to go off on a tangent here because the psychology of Patty Williams is just wild to me. Every time the writers bring her back, she seems somewhat lucid at first, but it always devolves into this violent, fatal attraction obsession with Jack. Why does Jack attract this specific brand of crazy? Between Patty and his history with other manipulative women, the man needs a permanent restraining order and a moat around his house. Victor Newman really unleashed a monster when he brought Patty back into the fold and paid her to mess with Jack. I hope Victor feels at least a tiny shred of guilt when he finds out Patty almost murdered his corporate rival. But knowing Victor, he'll probably just stroke his mustache, drink his tequila, and say it's Jack's own fault for being weak. So what happens now? I am dreading the next episode, but also counting down the seconds until it airs. Jack is bleeding out on the floor. Diane and Kyle are literally pulling up to the driveway right now, thinking they are walking into a safe haven. Are they going to walk in and find Jack dead? Obviously, they aren't going to kill off Peter Bergman, but Jack is going to be in critical condition and fighting for his life. Is Diane going to have to physically fight Patty? Can you imagine the throwdown between Diane Jenkins Abbott and a knife-wielding Patty Williams? I am absolutely here for it. I want Diane to completely destroy Patty for what she's done to their family. But I'm also terrified that Patty might take a swing at Kyle or Diane before the paramedics and cops arrive. I am just so emotionally invested in this show. I get so worked up when these legacy characters are put through the ringer like this. Jack has been through enough. He was drugged, held hostage on a yacht, had his marriage nearly destroyed by Victor's manipulations, and now he's got a stab wound in his gut. Give the man a break! But honestly, the writing for this climax was spectacular. The parallel tension of Diane escaping Markham while Jack confronted Patty, only for it to end in an absolute bloodbath, chef's kiss. I know some people in the forums are going to complain that the violence went too far for daytime TV, but personally, I think it's exactly the kind of high-stakes soap opera drama we've been begging for. I need to go lie down and process this because my heart rate is still way too high. Let me know in the comments if you are as traumatized as I am, because I cannot deal with this alone.